All right, joining me now is Christian Edwards, who will be taking on Jake Collier next January the 18th at Shamrock FC 360. Christian, this is a good name. Obviously, a UFC fighter, someone that's been in the game for a really long time now, man. What's your excitement level like to get this win and take one step closer to achieving your goals here in 2025?
Yeah, man. I honestly, thanks for having me on first and foremost. But yeah, I just honestly, my excitement level is through the roof. I uh, I know that my opponent is dangerous. He's a veteran. He definitely has a solid skill set, and I look forward to the challenge that he presents and that he brings to the table. And I believe I have every capability and tool required to dominate to win. So I'm excited.
And January 18th is right around the corner. Tell me how camp has been. I see you've been at one of the best gyms on planet Earth in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Jackson Wink. What is it like training under Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn?
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. Coach Greg is a key person in my overall development as a fighter, and as a person too, really. He just understands fighting so much and understands the fighters so much, because he has so much experience in training fighters that, he really speaks to me on a like really on a spiritual, soulful level, I'm thankful for him. I thank God for him. And Coach Mike Winklejohn is also has been a huge part of my success and my growth as well. And no, I'm grateful for my gym, and I'm grateful for my team. I love what I do. I get to live my dream. So I can't complain. I'm blessed. And I'm just grateful that I get to do it here in Albuquerque.
Good for you, my man. I think the answer to this next question is probably an obvious one, but I mean, how important is it and how hard is it to find the right coach and gym for you as a fighter? Just like in general, you look at other guys that you've been around, whether it's at this gym or previous gyms. Like, how hard is it to actually find the right fit? Is that a difficult thing to find?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely it can be. I've seen that before. Some fighters that bounce from gym to gym. Never really have a established home. At any particular gym. But me myself personally, I was fortunate enough to find my home here in Albuquerque, and it's been my home since I was 19. So I definitely I couldn't see myself. I'm just fortunate enough that I was able to establish this gym, which, like you said, is one of the best gyms in the world. Period. I believe the best. But I'm biased, of course. But that's just my belief. Now I was fortunate enough to find a home in my gym and in my team right away. So yeah, no, it's no difficulty on my part, but I do understand that sometimes it's difficult for other fighters depending on where you're from and what you have available to you.
Who are the main training partners that you typically go with at Jackson Wink?
Well, my main training partner for this camp has been my a good friend of mine. He's also fighting tonight for LFA. His name is Josh Hokett. He's a heavyweight. He's a stud. A solid wrestler. His striking is incredible, considering he has no striking background, and he's a beast. He's a monster. He's somebody to look out for sure. Because me and him, we work hard. You know what I mean? We get after it, and he's been my main training partner for this one. Lawan Davis as well. Who's a really talented striker, a really talented everything. Really can do it all. You know what I mean? Just a well-rounded mixed martial artist who I believe is definitely on his way to the UFC, just like me. Yeah, Dontel Mays is another one, in the UFC, established heavyweight. I have plenty of I thank God for the resources that I do have in my training partners because I have so many different looks because it's a big gym, with a lot of big names coming out of it, So it really inspires me to really make the most of this moment and to really, go put on a performance that shows the people in the UFC that I'm ready for that level.
I don't think I'd be doing my job if I didn't ask you what your relationship is with John Jones, if you have one. Obviously he's goes around and gets different looks, or he has in the past. He's been on the East Coast training with my guy Jorgen De Castro. Are you close with John? Do you train much with him?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. Me and John are definitely good friends, and I definitely, even for this last camp in my last fight, I did a lot of my training with him because he was in camp as well. And that's just basically that's the extent of our relationship. Like I have so much respect for him. You know, he is somebody who's accomplished the the highest accomplishments and achievements you could possibly dream of or imagine as a mixed martial artist. And I do draw a lot of inspiration from him, and I like being around him, picking his brain, and also working with him, getting rounds in with him because it's a confidence booster for me. Because I know, like, I'm like, well, I'm doing my thing with the greatest of all time. You know what I mean? I'm giving him good rounds, giving him good work. You know what I mean, and really pushing him to his limits. So I'm like, if I can do that with the greatest of all time, you know what I mean? Like, there's, I can beat anybody in the world on any
Yeah.
given day.
Yeah, and no doubt about that, man. If you're giving John Jones a good look, that's gonna elevate your confidence as high as it possibly could be. Let me ask you this. Obviously, you're biased, but and I understand why. He's your friend and training partner. How tough a fight do you think Tom Aspinall would give Jones? Would it be his hardest fight, or do you think John would run through him like he did Gon and everyone else?
Yeah, that that's the thing about the fight game. Is it's anything can happen. You know what I mean? Like there is so many possibilities when it comes to one particular fight. It could have a thousand different outcomes. And it really just depends on. Of course, I'm biased, and I believe in Bones because I know him personally and I know what he's capable of, and I do believe he would win that fight. But it's the fight game. You know what I mean? Like you really never know. Anything can happen.
I just hope it happens. I hope that fight actually comes to fruition, man, because I know the fans would absolutely love it to see that fight. Hopefully, it happens this year, because again, that would be the best fight that the UFC could make this year, no doubt about it. I want to talk a little bit, Christian, about your move from light heavyweight to heavyweight. Were you pretty much like killing yourself to get down to 205? Was that affecting your performances? I know you had those three losses in Bellator. Do you feel like that played a big role in it?
No, I don't think so. Actually, I feel like light heavyweight is exactly where I should be. It's where I should have stayed. I don't, heavyweight to me is, like, of course, I know that on any given day, I could also go up to heavyweight and have a lot of success more than likely. Um, because I know what I'm capable of. I know that I'm still dangerous, but it is different. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more that goes into a fight when it comes to fighting at heavyweight. It's like those are big boys. You know what I mean? Like there's easily between me and most heavyweights, there's easily like a 40-pound difference. You know what I mean? And I like the way that I feel at light heavyweight. I feel like that's where I should have stayed all along. And to be honest, not looking backwards, only looking forward. Like the only two real losses that I've had in my career, because that last loss I really don't even consider a loss because it was bullshit. To be honest, I got fucked out of a win, but that's the fight game. It happens. I feel like the first two losses and the only two losses, in my opinion, that I've had, they really did shape it really made me have to learn and adjust and really adapt to like, wow, I do have holes in my game. I'm not untouchable and invincible like I thought I was when I was undefeated. Like I have holes, I need to work on them, I need to fix them. And since those fights, the amount of progress and growth that I've had as a mixed martial artist, I'm telling you, this is the year that everybody's going to see it, and it's going to be the year that I go to the UFC. I believe I'm very confident in that.
Can you speak on the holes specifically? Was there like one area that you felt you really needed to tighten up?
Yeah, definitely for sure. I think just overall, um, not like of course considering the fact that I'm only this is gonna be my 10th pro fight. You know what I mean? I'm still early in my career. I did have certain holes in my stand up as far as just kind of throwing with reckless abandon, like leaving my chin in the air after I'm done throwing, not getting off angle, leaving myself open to take shots unnecessarily, and that did cost me my first pro loss. Was leaving my chin in the air, being overly confident, throwing with reckless abandon. Because it's like that youthful ignorance, you know what I mean? Like I was 22, undefeated, felt like I was invincible. All my fights except for one, my most recent pro fight have been in Bellator. You know what I mean? Like to learn on the job in the second biggest promotion in the world. You know what I mean? Not a lot of people can even say that they have that in them, let alone actually do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So like I just I'm grateful for all the experiences, no matter what, you know what I mean? Because I learned from them regardless. Win or lose, I always learn, I grow, and I get better because that's what a real martial artist does.
And you're
So
still only 26 years old, man. Like your prime time, those years are still in front of you, right? Like how far away do you think you are from that? I mean, do you feel like, you still are going to get leaps and bounds better than you are, today?
oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like with the trajectory that I'm heading on and the consistency that really defines me as a person and as a fighter as well. The sky is the limit, I believe. Like anybody who knows me knows that I'm a workhorse. I live in the gym, you know what I mean? I stay training and I stay learning and I stay growing, because I never want to get in that mindset of like I know it all, like I know everything, like there's not anything else I could learn because then, like that's just a recipe for disaster and that's where the growth stops and then that's where like I want my career to continuously grow in terms of potential in terms of achievement. Like I'm really trying to accomplish like things that most people consider impossible, you know what I mean? Being a world champion, defending my belt, getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, like I want to leave a legacy that my kids can look at and be like, my dad really did that. Like he made his dreams come true and inspire them to do the same.
Reach for the stars, man, right? That's what you got to do. If you whatever field you're in, you got to reach for being the best.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Otherwise, why am I doing it? Right.
Yeah, 100%, dude. As far as like what you're doing outside of just training and fighting right now, like what else are you doing to pay the bills? Like, do you have a job? Like, what else do you have outside of just getting the work in camp?
Fighting, man.
That's it.
Fighting. That's it, brother. That's it, man. I committed my whole life to this, man. And that's just what I'm gonna do, regardless, no matter what. Like until I want to venture into other things because I don't, thankfully, God bless me with a first of all a good partner, you know what I mean, who I'll never discredit, you know what I mean. My wife, I love her to death, you know what I mean, and she also is very established in her career and she supports me and I definitely would never ever take that for granted because my wife is a gift from God to me and I'm fortunate and I'm blessed in that way and I've made thankfully, also one of the perks of starting my career early on the biggest platform. Well, not the biggest platform, but the second biggest platform is, I was fortunate enough to make a lot of money while I was signed to Bellator. And, I wasn't foolish with my money. I invested it well, you know what I mean? I made sure to, because that's something that I thank Mike Winklejohn for, who has plenty of investments that continuously give him income. Like it's uh it's a blessing to have people like that in your life who teach you things like that and teach you from an early start. Don't be foolish with your money. Like make sure you actually invest it in something that can bring you gradual income. So I'm
Smart.
I'm good, man. I'm grateful. God has blessed me, and I can't complain in any sense. I do what I do because it's all love. You know what I mean? I love what I do. It's passion. It's joy. It brings me so much joy, and I really couldn't see myself doing anything else.
That's good to hear, man. And as far as like, the UFC, making it to the UFC, everyone I talk to, the UFC is the pinnacle. That's the biggest promotion in the world. When you look at like what's going on right now with Bellator and PFL and just no events happening, how much more of an emphasis do you put on making it to the UFC? Is it kind of UFC or bust at this point?
Yeah, I mean, that's when I had first started training when I was 13. That's what I envisioned. That was the vision since an early age, and I believe that that was God trying to tell me that's my destiny. Like that's where I'm meant to be. That's where I'm meant to go. And I don't believe in coincidence. I believe everything happens for a reason. And I know that sometimes God closes certain doors in your life to open up even bigger doors. And just when everybody starts to write you off or think that your story's over, God intervenes and says, "I'm just getting started." So, and that's I know that that's the case with me, and yeah, like I'm just ready to walk through that door. You know what I mean, and receive my blessing. I'm grateful, man. I just have a heart of gratitude.
I love the mindset. And obviously, a win over Jake Collier goes a long way in having you take that next step. What's your excitement level like for fighting for Shamrock FC? I'm obviously this is one of the premier regional promotions across the country. And what will the travel be like for you? I guess I'm unfamiliar with how far it is from Albuquerque.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. It's like I've definitely been following Shamrock for a long time. You know what I mean? Like they've had so many really, really skillful, talented fighters come out of that promotion who did make it to the UFC. And like I love this opportunity. I love the people that are in a position to give me these kind of opportunities, and I'm grateful that they were kind and reached out to me and told me, hey, we want you on my card. Like, Rob and Jess, all those guys, they're great. And no, the travel it's not too bad actually. Albuquerque is total. I think it's with one stop in between. I think it's like 9 hours. It's not terrible.
Yeah, yeah, 9 hours. That's not terrible, but it's not
Yeah,
great. That's still a
yeah,
long drive.
yeah, for sure, for sure. No, it definitely is. Honestly, it's nothing new. You know what I mean? It's nothing new to me. I'm comfortable traveling, you know what I mean? And I understand that that's just a part of the job. I actually enjoy it, honestly. So it's no big deal at all.
Do you like to listen to music or podcasts when you're on a long drive? Like, what do you typically zone out to?
I like to listen. Honestly, I listen to podcasts when I'm driving for a long time, but after a while, it's like eventually I just want to listen to music too, because that is to listen to somebody else, like to listen to another conversation for 9 hours straight. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like I'll listen to podcasts like about halfway, and then the rest of the way, I'll probably just jam out to some music.
What's your favorite artist right now? Like, can you give me some insight as to maybe what song you might make the walk to on January 18th?
I can't the song I can't say, but I will say that my go-to artist when it comes to especially getting into that mindset before I, walk out to the cage is definitely Eminem. I'm a hardcore Eminem fan. I have been for a long time. So that's definitely, the one that it is going to be an Eminem song. I'm just like if I have to, I don't want to say just now what the song is, but I have a feeling that yeah, I have a feeling which one it's gonna be. But I haven't
Okay.
made up my mind yet. So I'm back and forth.
I was listening to Venom at the gym earlier today, so
Oh, okay,
that's
okay.
a
There you go.
that's a good one. Yeah,
That is
Eminem.
good.
He's one of
Yeah.
my favorites for sure. Let's circle back and talk a little bit about Jake Collier. 36 years old. Plenty of fight tape to dissect. 6 TKO wins, 4 submission victories. He did win his last and only fight since being cut from the UFC. Are you catching him at a time where like maybe he's not his best? Like what's your overall analysis of him at this stage of his career?
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't really have too much to say. I like I said, I respect him. You know what I mean? He's super. He's a tough guy. You know what I mean? I've watched, like you said, he does have a lot of tape, and I definitely respect him. You know what I mean? Like I look forward to the challenge. That's really it. I look forward to the challenge. I'm excited. I know that he is somebody who's been there, who's done that. He has a name. And I believe that a win over him will show what I'm capable of, and people are gonna have to look at me seriously. You know what I mean? If they don't already, because if there's anything that I am, it's undeniable. And I believe that people are about to see that in the biggest way, especially in this fight.
Do you think that this fight will take place mostly on the feet, or is this hitting the ground? Like, what kind of a fight are we in store for?
We will see. We will see when we get there. Anything can happen.
All right. Without giving away the game plan, do you have an official prediction for me? Like, how do you get your hand raised? What round?
I'm gonna say I get my hand raised first or second round TKO. That's how I get my hand raised.
All
I'm
right.
predicting it right now.
I love it. And if you get out of there unscathed, you're healthy, what will 2025 look like for you, my man? Like, when would you like to jump back in there next? Are you trying to stay as active as possible? And do you think that maybe by the end of this year, we will see you in the UFC?
Yeah, God willing, man. Hopefully so. I believe so. I'm very confident in that by the end of this year I will be signed to the UFC. But we'll see. Hopefully, and if I have to wait, then I'm a patient man. You know what I mean? I know that everything's on God's time. So, but at some point, you will see me in the UFC, whether it's this year, next year, you will see me in the UFC. I promise you.
Can't wait to see that happen, my man. I really appreciate your time today. Pleasure interviewing you here for the first time. Before we do jump out of here, I want to give you the floor. If there's any sponsors that you have that you want to thank, or just anyone else in general you want to give a shout out to, the floor is yours.
No, man. I just want to give a huge shout out to my team, to my gym. I love my team. I love my home, and also my wife, who's supported me, who believed in me through everything. Yeah, man. That's really it, man. My day ones, my people who they know who they are. You know what I mean? The people who have really, rocked with me since I started. Since my pro debut.